to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
And welcome to the Home Repairs and Solutions Show with your hosts, Mary Pearson and Mark Withers. Home Repairs and Solutions is brought to you by Spring Mountain Air, your local Amana dealer. Now here's Mary and Mark.
Good morning.
Well, good morning.
I'm so glad you're back.
I'm glad I'm back.
I missed you. I always miss you.
Too.
I said hello, but I knew you couldn't hear me last Friday.
No, where we was, reception probably wouldn't have been that great.
Well, you probably can't hear it through the helmet of your motorcycle
That's
anyway.
right.
So anyway,
That's true.
Sounds like you had an amazing trip.
Oh, it was just, I tell you, if you've never been to Colorado to ride motorcycles, it's just breathtaking.
It's phenomenal.
You know, it's one thing to ride through the mountains and stuff in a car or truck, but when you're out there on a bike or in a Jeep or something like that,
you have to do it in the open air.
You have to.
Yeah.
It is just absolutely amazing. We had a great time once we got there. We had a few issues getting there, but once we got there, it was spectacular.
You know, my husband and I did that for years and years. It was one of the most favorite things that we did, and really one of the most inexpensive vacations because we would take our four-wheelers out there, get a motel, ride in the mountains all day, eat something for supper, go to bed, and get up and ride in the mountains again.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's pretty inexpensive to do that. We stayed at Silverton a lot, went to some old mining towns and different things.
Oh, yeah.
And I absolutely love it out there.
Yeah.
I think it's just gorgeously beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got to go.
Well, thank you. We made base camp in South Fork. And nice little cabins. There wasn't nothing fancy, a little two-bedroom cabin. There was three of us, Gene Reasoner, myself, and we had a friend from Kentucky that came all the way out and met us. So the little cabin was very, very reasonable. And we rode up to Creed, spent the day in Creed, and we found a little fly fishing place there in Creed, but they have a little coffee shop with it. So we get us a cup of coffee and sit out on their front porch and just, I mean, you know, it was just so relaxing.
It is.
And we had such a great time. So if you've never got to do it and you ride a motorcycle, you got to go to Colorado.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I'm glad you got to do that trip, but I'm really happy you're back.
Well, thank you.
You know, I always miss you when you're not here.
Well, thank you. I miss you too, Mary.
Okay, now that we got all that out of the way.
Yeah.
Today, we have a special guest with us on the show. I'm real excited to have her on with us today. We have Julie Mercer with us from Paul Davis Restoration. And if you have ever had any kind of whatever happen to your house, fire, water, whatever the case may be, these are the folks that you need to call to come and do your restoration for you. So, Julie, thank you so much for being with us on the show today.
Oh, Mary, Mark, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. Now I want to go to Colorado. Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm like, I'm ready. So, thank you so much.
Get your
for having me
motorcycle, we'll
today.
go, Julie.
Well, I might need a ride on behind.
We'll talk later.
All right, hook me up.
So, I brought Julie on. We really haven't had anyone on that really does everything that they do for someone. And I've known about this company for quite a while. I've known Julie for a while. And good, bad, or ugly, whatever, I actually had the opportunity to use them on my personal home. Not something anyone plans to do, but things happen.
Yes.
And I was very excited when I got hold of my insurance company and I said, I don't know what to do. My house caught on fire July 5th. Some of you know that, some of you don't. And you were the company that my insurance company recommended, that they worked with you before, said you were great to work with. And on top of that, now some people might think, well, maybe that's because they were the cheapest. No, that had nothing to do with it. Insurance companies don't like to work with companies that cause them a lot of friction and hassle. You know, so I went with their recommendation and I knew you. And then the fire marshal came out and inspected everything. I learned so much when you have a fire. There's a lot to learn, folks.
Sure.
Yeah.
But he came out and was talking to me, and he asked me who my contractor was, and I told him it was you guys, and he said, good. He said, you're going to be very happy. He said, they are the best.
Oh,
So you got a recommendation from the fire marshal as well. So I felt awesome having you guys come and do this for me.
well, thank you.
So why don't you kind of start out the show, Julie, and kind of tell people what you do, what Paul Davis Restoration can do for folks, and some of the services that you can provide, because you're kind of a disaster relief kind of company when disasters happen to people's houses. or
That
their
is
homes.
correct. That is correct. And I am so glad. Thank you. I know we've known each other for some time now, but what you just said, I thank you so much. We take a pride and spend a lot of time really cultivating and developing those relationships with, just as you mentioned, the insurance community, those agents, adjusters, fire departments, the fire marshal, absolutely, in what we do. So thank you. And yes, we're doing everything we can. And I think your move-in date's pretty close. If
I
we were
think
talking.
so.
But no,
I'm happy.
obviously, nobody ever plans for anything like this to occur. And
No.
exactly what you said, no matter what in your life, it could be disastrous, is disastrous to you, fits into the realm of how we can help you. That could be a storm damage. That could be, yes, the fire, like you mentioned, that happened at your home. Maybe it's a water line from an ice maker that burst and water's everywhere in your kitchen that goes into your living room. Storm damage. We've had so much with hail and wind and trees down. You name it, we're there. It's sometimes even mold. Mold's prominent in this kind of the area, and being a resource to be able to help you with that process, work with your insurance company, see you through from start to finish. And that's where our heart and our minds lie, is to help and be very compassionate, as we know. This has never happened to you before, we hope, but to guide you through step by step along the way to return you back to normal.
Well, if it hasn't happened to you before, I can tell you from personal experience, it is devastating.
Yes.
It is just overwhelmingly devastating because like I had an attic fire and I walked in and half of my ceiling's gone, and it's just, your house just is a wreck, and very quickly.
Absolutely.
And there are so many things to do, and one of the things that you mentioned that I found to be very true and very helpful with you guys is I didn't know what to do or what the process was or who to call first or second. Well, I knew to call my insurance company first.
Sure.
But then the project manager that I have working with me, David, has just been wonderful at explaining things to me, walking me through the process, what gets done first, what gets done second, how things work, timelines and time frames and this and that and the other. And one of the things he asked me is because I know a lot of contractors personally and stuff, and he asked me if I had any certain contractors that I wanted to use, and I said, no, sir. I said, I trust you. I want you to use your contractors because as an individual, I don't want to have the responsibility of trying to chase down 4 or 5 contractors if there is an issue. And this way, if something comes up and everything has been great to this point and they're finishing up, so I'm assuming there's not going to be anything happen after this, but I want to go to that one person. I want to make that one phone call to that one person that I know is going to take care of whatever issue, whether it's the roof, the contractor that does the sheetrock, the paint. It doesn't matter. I have one contact who is going to take care of all those issues for me, and that made it so much easier for me.
Yes, and we find that to be true because, like you just mentioned, you have an area of expertise in kind of in this industry in construction and everything, but most don't. And so
Correct.
being able, like I said, to take that from that moment, whether it's I'm responding to a fire that evening and we're doing a board up or securing that property and looking and putting peace of mind. Peace of mind is so important, and it's priceless. And what we're able to provide to be able to take them through and then handhold, walk, guide, whatever that may be on each situation's a little different. Each person's a little different.
Sure.
But we don't leave their side from start to finish and full service. So no matter, like I said, from that board up all the way to exactly like what you're experiencing now to today, we're doing that final clean after everything has been restored, everything's put back, everything's back new, and then the final clean so that when you walk in that home for the weekend or next week or Labor Day, it's absolutely ready and is basically brand new. Or in even a lot of times with these restoration projects, it could be a situation where they're even better than what happened.
Mine is
and
I
there's
got rid of that
improvements.
popcorn ceiling. Woohoo!
That's
So I
exactly.
was happy about that.
Hey, no matter what. No
And you
matter
know the main thing, I mean, whenever you have a catastrophe like that, it's not only disrupting your home, it disrupts your life.
Yes,
I
it
mean,
does.
you know, everything.
Your life.
It
And
does.
it is so much of a peace of mind to know that you have one person that is saying, "Hey, I'll take care of
Yes.
it. Let me you don't worry about it. Just go about your as best you can your normal life.
Absolutely.
We'll take care of this." And like Mary said, you got that one person to go to if there is issues, because I know how it is. I deal with contractors, subs
Sure,
every day.
sure.
You know, and it for an individual that has never really done that, it could be a nightmare. It would drive
Sure.
you nuts.
Oh, sure.
You know, so that is a great peace of mind
Yes.
to have you guys that can do that. So we have Sharon holding on down in Stone County. Go ahead, Sharon.
Sharon, are you there?
Where's Sharon at?
Did we lose Sharon?
Gary's a hunting and
He's a
pushing
hunting and
buttons
pecking.
and. Oh,
Okay, we lost
Okay,
her. I don't
we
know what
lost her.
happened.
Call back.
Yep,
Yeah.
you can call back, Sharon. We don't know what happened there,
and
but
speaking of calling
you
back,
better give out the
I
numbers.
better. 862-9977, 1-800-375-0056, or since we're so high tech, you can actually text us at 417-838-3192, and we'll read your message on the air and get you an answer.
that is
So,
correct.
Yep.
That is
So,
correct.
Free call, so no excuse for not calling.
Well, I will tell you one of the things that that I have learned going through this process is no one is perfect.
No.
And David has been amazing to keep me informed with different things,
Mm-hmm.
and that whenever you go through a restoration process, there are going to be surprises. You know, when they initially come and looked at my home, they could see only what they could see at that point
Sure.
in
Oh,
time.
yeah.
But then when you come in and you actually start doing the cleanup and different things, then you find other issues. And so sometimes things can take a little bit longer than you anticipate, simply because you're going to find more things that you don't see at the initial inspection.
yeah.
And so what I would tell folks out there, if you have a situation like this, it is frustrating. Fortunately for me, I had a place to go. I didn't have to live down there through all the mess. And I don't think I could have, because they had to.
yeah.
I didn't have a bed. I had nothing to sleep on, so they took all that stuff. But just be patient. You know, my biggest concern with anybody I deal with in a business relationship is things are going to happen sometimes, and I'm
That's
okay
right.
with that as long as they address it and make it right.
Yeah.
And so I think if you're not used to dealing with construction, if you've never done renovations, if you don't have anything like that happen, and then you have this catastrophe,
Yeah.
it can be frustrating because they
Sure.
found some additional electrical things. Of course, mine was an electrical fire.
Right.
So as they were going through things, they had to bring the electrician back down a couple times, because as things happened, they would find other issues. And I didn't have to worry about that. David just took care of that for me.
Yeah.
So when they would find another issue, he'd say, well, I had to send the electrician back down because we found this over here, or we found this. And that's just the natural process and progression of things. So I would just advise anyone that might go through this at some point in time. I hope no one does, but it happens.
Right.
Just try to be patient. Get a hold of someone you can trust, like Paul Davis Restoration, and then just give them the time they need to take care of all the things that come up.
Right.
So patience is sometimes something that's a little hard to deal with in this situation. Everybody wants their house back together. You know, I want to move back home, that type of thing. But I
Yeah.
want my house to be right when
Sure.
I move back home.
Yeah.
I don't want to move back in and then have additional problems and that type of thing. So I've learned to just be real patient with the process, let you guys handle it. When things come up, oftentimes it's taken care of, and then David will call me and say, you know, this happened,
Right.
but it's already been taken care of. Do you have any questions? He's been just amazing to work with. And that has made it so much more calmer for me to deal with this situation.
Right. And we know in our training and just dealing with this, we know ourselves, you know, like I said, this is primarily always, hopefully, the first time and the last that
Yeah.
this has ever happened, no matter what it could be. Like you were talking about a fire, it could be a small water loss, it could be a large water loss, it could be a tornado that comes through here. We're getting ready to approach fire season.
Yes.
Typically known as fire season, and we've had a lot of cooler weather. But we want to make sure we keep our homeowner informed step by step, so they feel they know and are aware of everything going on in the restoration process. And we're also keeping the adjuster and the insurance company
Yes.
and the agent involved, so that everybody is on the same journey to get from point A to point B, and make that as less chaotic, less stressful.
I'm glad you brought that up. That was one of my big concerns, is because not having gone through this before, I have never had a damage claim on a house. Paul and I never
Right.
had one in
Right.
30 some years. So, one of the things that I asked David is, I said, because you guys were working so close with my adjuster and all that, and I met them all, but on the number thing of it, I didn't really know what was going on. So David told me that all the numbers came in, and my concern was, are you guys on the same page?
Yes.
Because at the end of the project, I don't want to fight over money.
No.
And he said, absolutely. And he said, we agreed, and they worked with my insurance company. And then we had an additional issue come up. Actually, the water had gotten into the thermostat. My heat pump worked for a couple days. Shorted out the thermostat. No one was there when it happened. Took out my control board, took out my blower, because I have a communicating high efficiency system. So by the time we figured all this out and got down there, I had 75% humidity in my house. And so they couldn't paint that day.
Right. And we wouldn't.
So you have things that come up like that. And so then we had to get the heat pump going, the humidity out. So that was a delay. No one in particular's fault. Things just happen. And so, that kind of put things behind for me getting completion. But you have to do things when you can. You can't paint
Right.
with 75% humidity.
No.
You just can't do it. So, you just have to work through issues like that and just know that things are going to come up and things are going to happen. But it can all be taken care of in a very calm and efficient manner. What I found with working with you guys.
Yes, and we do our best always to keep everybody informed, and obviously you, the homeowner, first and foremost. We see this continually, and as things like you said arise, our whole goal is absolutely to minimize the number of days or months, that you are displaced and out of your home. We want nothing more than to put you right back and get everything back to you. It could be, full contents cleaning, things like that we're able to do with a full service. And I know we'll talk a little bit more about, that as this hour goes. But so many elements to the word disaster, and just knowing that no matter what it is completely a disaster. It's happening to your home is your sanctuary. Your
is.
home is everything. And then the home is the home, and then there's the contents. Everything in the kitchen, all your belongings that's most near and dear to you. And even in water situations, storm situations, we want nothing but to return those items back to you in like or better quality. And having access to your things. I know we didn't do a full pack out, but things like that, if we did at our warehouse, it would be in a secured stored area where we process and we clean. And might have a season change. I mean, look here, the past couple of weeks, how cooler the weather is. And then, but this week we might have needed a sleeveless shirt or something. And so we're able to get those items back, and you feel that you're always connected through that one person.
That's true. Fortunately for me, I had no property damage loss at all from the fire. I had lots of friends and neighbors there who took care of things very, very quickly for me. Most of my loss was actually cosmetic.
Yes.
So I was very, very fortunate for the kind of fire I had. I had actually minimal loss. It could have been a total loss. But even that being said, because of, like for instance, I have a wood ceiling in my kitchen, and I had a popcorn ceiling in my living room, and that was my big thing when that happened. I was like, okay, popcorn ceiling's gone. Well, what happens, and it's no one's fault, but it's just to kind of let you know that things happen during this process, is they scrape the popcorn ceiling off. But due to the way that the ceilings were put together with the popcorn on there, where they meet, it looks real ragged. It's no one's fault. It's just an issue that happened when we changed the texture from the popcorn to flat ceiling. So I talked to David about that, and he noticed that. So we're going to come up with a solution to that. And so that's just something else that we have to address. And I'm perfectly confident that he's going to come up with something that's going to make me very happy, and it's going to look finished. But you're going to have things like that evolve. And that's something that I didn't see coming, wouldn't have thought of. But it's something that after, whenever you do something, it always affects something else.
Right.
Always. So you think, okay, I'm going to scrape the ceiling and do this. Okay, wow. Now these ceilings don't match up exactly right, and I have this gap, and it's right, so that's just one of the things that happened to me. And I just looked at it and went, David, would you look at that and kind of tell me what we need to do with that? And so,
And in the end,
Yeah.
when it's all done, you probably won't even be able to
You'll
tell.
never know.
And it'll be like
You
a
will never know.
brand new ceiling
Yeah.
without that popcorn. And
Yeah.
what a time like this, too, where people will notice. We see this a lot. Oh, they want to make these changes. And after the shock and everything kind of, okay, I've gotten hold of this. And then a lot of times we'll start hearing, oh, I never liked that wall there. Oh, I never, I can finally get tile. And then it kind of starts making those changes. And when you get done and are back in and you'll look up at that ceiling, because you will, because you know where all those
oh, yeah.
lines are.
Sure.
And you're not even going to be able to tell
Sure.
one of them. So,
Fortunately for me, and this speaks a lot for you guys too, because I really was concerned about the integrity of my home.
most
Paula and
definitely.
I, because of what we put in there.
Yes.
We put in 50-year-old reclaimed lumber. So there was things in there that I knew I could not replace. Paul custom mixed the stains. So matching the stain is going to be a real issue if we end up putting a trim piece in there. But I didn't want to do a lot of changes to my home. We had spent 7 years getting it like we wanted it. And the only thing that I didn't want anymore was that popcorn ceiling, and that's basically all that's different in my home. And the color of paints I put in there. I put lighter colors in there. But other than that, the feel and the integrity of my home is the same, which was real important to me. I didn't want a lot of new stuff in there. I didn't want to change a lot of stuff. And so I talked to David about that and how important my trim was to me and how important my floors
Absolutely.
and all that type of thing. And he was very good to listen to what I had to say and
Yes.
was very conscientious to the fact that that was very important to me. And so I really appreciate your attention to detail for things that were important to me.
Well,
So-
you'd be surprised how many subcontractors don't care
Yeah.
and are not going to take the time to listen to your needs. I mean, we run into that in new construction. We'll tell somebody, hey, this is what we want. Well, nah, I can't do that, or they won't take the time to even, so if it happens in our industry or in our side of stuff in new construction, gosh, I know it happens when somebody's dealing with a homeowner.
Yeah.
And so it's so nice to have somebody that really cares and will listen to what you want. Because like you was saying, you and Paul put a lot of work into
We
that.
did.
And you want to keep it as
I
close
do.
to like it was as you can.
I do.
And we
Yes.
want that,
Yes.
and we
Yeah.
want to give that back, and that's what we want you to
Yeah.
feel.
And it feels that way. I still have that same feel, and I'm very, very grateful for that.
We need to take a break.
We do.
This is Home Repairs and Solutions. We'll be back right after this. Now, if you've got a problem and you don't know what to do, your siding's going bad and you're plagued with green mildew. Well, your faucets, they all drip and your sinks are all clogged up too. Well, there's no need to worry. I'll tell you what you can do. Just call Home Repairs and Solutions. Home Repairs and Solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house. They'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home Repairs and Solutions.
Here's news on the Ozarks News Network. Springfield Board of City Utilities has approved a budget proposal for rate increases beginning next year. Electric rates will go up 5.9% in October 2014, 3.9% in October 2015, and 3.7% in October 2016. CU says the rates are needed to deal with environmental regulations, transmission costs, new compliance regulations, and increased operating costs. City Council still needs to approve the budget. Charges of involuntary manslaughter and assault are now facing a man from Pleasant Hope for a crash that killed a Springfield woman. 21-year-old Jordan Lavoie was allegedly drunk when the car he was driving crashed along Farm Road 237. 20-year-old Christina Ritchie died in the crash and another passenger was injured. And a stabbing on Springfield's west side has a woman behind bars and a man in the hospital. Police say they found the victim lying in a pool of blood in the 700 block of Southwest Avenue. 31-year-old Kristen Hall was arrested and charged with first-degree assault. For the Ozarks News Network, I'm Arlen Summers.
And join us for America's First News, Monday through Saturday at 6:05 a.m. on the Wall Street Journal this morning on AM 560 KWTO.
We're Ford is the place. Save you time and money, put a smile on your face.
If back to school means a road trip at your house, visit Weir Ford in Mountain Grove. Safety is important. That's why Weir Ford checks every vehicle with Carfax, and every vehicle undergoes a minimum 42-point inspection. For safety and value, choose Weir Ford in Mountain Grove.
Hi folks, Jay Loveland from Weir Ford in Mountain Grove, where we say what we mean and do what we say.
Piano Craft is in the final stages of our annual University Piano Sale. The last truckload has just arrived, and it's not too late to take advantage of the lowest prices of the year on new and gently used pianos from Yamaha, Kawai, Baldwin, Steinway, and many more. But you need to hurry. These instruments are deeply discounted and they won't last long. Don't miss out on this last chance to take advantage of the lowest prices of the year. Call Piano Craft, 881-3035, or stop by Piano Craft in the Brentwood South Center across from Battlefield Mall.
A revolution of red is coming to Springfield, and you can be part of celebrating 10 years of the Go Red for Women movement. The Heart Association's Go Red for Women Luncheon, sponsored by Macy's, Central Trust and Investment Company, and Empire Bank, is Thursday, September 5th at the White River Conference Center at Bass Pro. Join us for a heart-healthy lunch, the personality silent auction, and a great program all designed to help you prevent heart disease, the #1 killer of women. Reserve your seat today, 881-1121.
For today, we'll have sunny to partly cloudy skies with a high around 90, then a humid night tonight, partly cloudy with a low 72. Partly sunny, humid again tomorrow, high 88, and a low tomorrow night around 70. Then lots of sunshine for Sunday with a high 90. Monday and Tuesday, mostly sunny, humid both days, highs in the low 90s, then mostly sunny and warm Wednesday, high 92. I'm AccuWeather's Kevin Snyder.
Well, I went down to the hardware store to see my old friend Bob. I said my roof it leaks, my rug's a mess, and my front door needs a new knob. I got squirrels in my attic, I got bats in my head. Well, Bob just leaned over the counter and he shook his head and said, "You need home repairs and solutions. Home repairs and solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house, they'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home repairs and solutions."
And welcome back to Home Repairs and Solutions, brought to you by Spring Mountain Air, your local Amana dealer. If you want to be part of the show, the phone numbers to call are 862-9977. That's 862-9977 or 1-800-375-0056. Now here's Mark and Mary.
And if you want to text us,
There you go.
417-838-3192.
And welcome back.
That's right.
It's always good to be back.
Oh, good to be
We're
back.
always happy they put us back on for the second half of the show.
You know, yeah, it's always a good thing. We appreciate that very much.
Yes, it is. If you just tuned in, we're talking to Julie here with Paul Davis Restoration. And we've kind of talked about a little bit about what they do, specifically what they've done personally for me. But I would like to give you some time here, Julie, to maybe give people information about where you guys are, what to do if they have a problem, how they can contact you, maybe the service area, more things, specific to what you can do to help other clients besides me.
Sure, Mary. And as we said, we've obviously helped you out here and definitely excited as ever to get you back in over the weekend.
Me too.
Yeah, that's a good sign. And with Labor Day coming up, talk
Yes,
about
ma'am.
timing.
Yes, ma'am.
Got a big plans, right? Party?
I do. I have people coming, yes.
Oh, awesome.
After the fire party.
That's great. Well, yeah, it's all good. No, we've been here in the Southwest Missouri area serving the Nixa Springfield area for 20 years, and we're locally owned. It's a nationally recognized franchise, but we've been locally owned for all 20 years. I've been with them for 15 of those 20, and I'm happy. I couldn't imagine doing anything else, and helping people and exactly like what you're experiencing, excited to get back in that home is our overall goal. We help people, and again, just to recap, if you're just tuned in, helping people in any time of any kind of a need or a disaster or an emergency, whatever you call it, where something's just not gone right, something's gone wrong, maybe an ice maker line leak, maybe a toilet overflow, anything regarding water, fire, wind, storm, so many different elements. Maybe you've noticed some mold. We want to be that resource for you. We want to be able to provide some information. Maybe we come out and take a look. Being able to be a resource to help guide you, give you some pointers. We work with every insurance carrier that there is, every one of them. Some of them are on their direct repair programs, but if not, we work with all of them. And maybe sometimes there are those things, some of the flooding that we've had, that we've responded to in Waynesville where there's not been some flood insurance. That's okay. We'll work with you. We'll work with anyone to help them put their life back, help turn that chaos into calm. Anything that we can do there. We service the whole Southwest area, and that could be from right here in this listening area in the Springfield, Nixa, Christian County, Greene County, Republic, Ozark, Nixa, oh, you name it, all the way to and through kind of the central and northern part of the state. We have an office in Lebanon, so we're able to service our Lebanon and the east side, and we're also able to go up into the lake, Jeff City, and on up into Columbia, where we have yet another location. So there's 3 locations that we have here in the southwest central Missouri area, all under the same ownership. Of course, we've got Paul Davis locations in Kansas City and St. Louis as well, as far as servicing the entire state. But we really work with all insurance companies, or you in any way, shape, or form. You hire us, we work for you, we represent you. We do everything we can to get everything right back just how you like or you want it from A to Z.
That's true, and I can't reiterate enough how easy of a process that you guys have made for me. Like I said, never having to do this before, go through this. And anytime you experience something new and different, especially at like a disaster type situation, there's always a little bit of fear. Am I going to be taken advantage of? Can I trust this person? Can I trust that person? Are they going to take my money and not do a good job? All these things are going to go through your head. Excuse me. So for me, the first time I met David and he came down there and I met him, I instantly trusted him. You know, some people you meet and you just know that you can trust them. And I just felt that way with him from the beginning. I was very comfortable in discussing the situation with him, telling him what my concerns were, what my specific needs were, what I specifically wanted done, and that type of thing. And he is a very good listener.
Yes, he is.
I can tell you he's very, very honest.
Yes.
I had a wall sconce, and they were working on it or whatever they're doing. I don't know what they were doing. And he called me one day and he said, I want to give you an update. This is what's going on, this and that and the other. And he said, and by the way, he said, my arm caught that, and he said, I cracked that bulb on that wall sconce. And he said, I'm going to get that replaced for you.
Yes.
And I said, well, good luck. You're not going to find it in town, because it took me 7 years and I searched all over the universe for this thing. And I said, you'll have to get it online, because that's where I got a lot of my lighting, because of the style of house that we did. And he said, no problem. And so he found it. I said, you probably won't get it identical, but you can probably get one close enough. And he sent me the picture and had my approval and everything. And we have it on order. It'll be here. I mean, he's just very honest. And he told me, he said, it's barely cracked. And he said, you might not have even noticed it, but I know I did it.
Yes.
And I want to make it right for you. So that alone spoke volumes to me, because things are going to happen. Like I said, you're going to have things happen. You've got people in your house. You got things going on. And that is the only thing out of all the stuff I have in my house, and I have quite a bit of stuff, and it's all piled up on top of each other. And they didn't take a lot of my furniture out, because I have a lot of one-of-a-kind handmade pieces.
Right.
And so they wanted to make sure that those weren't moved around a lot, and they didn't want them to get damaged or chipped, because I can't just go to the store and buy another one. And so they really listened to all of that kind of thing, and they took this. I said, all this stuff can go. I can replace this. That's okay. This pile right here, I cannot.
Right.
And so they left it in my home. They're cleaning it all there. They're going to do so.
And those are the kind of things with communication.
That attention to detail is just incredible. It's very hard to find today.
And that is what we're all about. And everyone, I can't even begin to tell you how proud and blessed that I am to work with a team of compassionate, caring. We don't have a lot of turnover at Paul Davis. In fact, I don't know that we have any turnover in Paul Davis. David, that you mentioned, has been with us for over 13 years. I've worked with them all 13. Any one of my project managers, which is the David that takes you from start to finish, anyone at any location, same, cut by the same cloth. We have a care and compassion, and anything and whatever, no matter what it is that's important to you, is just or even more important to us. So when we find those things that we don't want moved out, or we don't want this, or sometimes it's a situation where somebody wants us, you've got to take this. I can't leave it here, and I can't take it with me, and so I trust you to take it. But that trust takes time to build. But we take a lot of pride in training, but it's really all of who we are. It's just naturally in us, because we know that's what it takes, and that's who we are, and we really genuinely care. Lots of people behind the scenes always collectively working on your project to investigate, to do some research, to find those products online, so that we can find that. Our goal, no matter what, we talked earlier about matching the stain and how important that was with your husband, putting that together to make sure that's right, and that's important to you. Just as important as it may be to paint the wall blue or go to tile floor, but especially it's all about the sentimental and all about the memories in that home. And that right there is everything to us, and on top of our minds and our project managers' minds, our general managers' minds, our owner's mind, from top to bottom, everything. Everyone has that goal in mind, to return and to give you back what you think you might have lost, or how to get something very similar.
Sure. And the other thing I can say is I've called your office a couple times because I don't try to call David on if I need to visit with him about something. I always call the office first.
Yes.
You know, I don't want to bother him on his cell phone if I don't need to. But your office staff is just incredibly friendly and helpful
Thank
as
you.
well. They've always been very kind to me when I've called and had a question and. They say, well, he's not here. Have you tried his cell phone, or is there someone else who can help you? I mean, they're very goal oriented into helping you with whatever it is that you're calling about.
Absolutely.
And David's been real good. I've called him at strange hours sometimes because of my schedule, and so. You know, I've called him, you know, later in the evenings or real early in the mornings, and he's
Right.
always been there to take my call.
Right.
If I've had to leave a message, he calls me back as soon as and he's always like, I'm sorry I couldn't take your call. And I'm like, it's okay. I'm not
Yeah.
your only client. I realize you have
Yeah.
a lot of projects going on. But he's always real good to get back to me the same day as quickly as he can. So that is just worth so much. You really cannot put a price on that.
No.
You just can't.
We do a lot and continue training all the time, whether that's customer service, whether that's communication, no matter what it is. And in our line of work, let's face it, it's 24/7 and
It
we
is.
know it.
Right.
And we live and breathe that. And we know that. No matter if that's just, I needed to call you to tell you what color of paint at 8 o'clock at night or at 2 a.m., I've just noticed I went down to my basement and I've got squishy carpet. It doesn't matter. We have on-call teams and staff 24/7. If something happens like we've seen with the tornadoes and we've seen with flooding, we call on those resources from Colombia and Lebanon and they help and we go up there or whatever may need be. The wonderful thing about being locally owned and nationally recognized is we have other locations in sister states that we have affiliations with that can. When Joplin happened, immediately our location in our Lincoln, Nebraska office and Bloomington, Illinois, loaded up equipment and people to come and help in the time of need. So it's all Paul Davis all the time that is on people's properties and helping them. And we all have the same training and the same beliefs. So we don't bring in a lot of extra people, but we're all local and we all have the same goal in mind.
Right. You know, you were saying that y'all don't have really hardly any turnover or anything. If you do hire new employees, what kind of training do they have to go through? I mean, you just don't send some guy off the street or go down to the local job place and pick somebody up and say,
No.
hey, we need you
You
to go
know,
to
we
this
need you to be
house.
a project manager
Gosh,
today.
no. Gosh, no.
You,
Gosh, no.
you have quality people that work for you. So they have
Absolutely.
training
Absolutely.
that they have to take
We
in
have-
order to be
yes.
a Paul Davis
We have
employee.
training based on what we call the IICRC, which is Inspection, Institute of Inspection, Cleaning, Restoration Certification. That's the big IICRC logo. And everything we do from water to fire to mold has bound by those guidelines to be a proper professional restoration company. Outside of that, internally, training on things that you won't find in that book or that manual talking about how to deal with the customer from, like
Sure.
you said, Mary, those office, that phone number is the first person that gets that very first call of that traumatic event, no matter what it is. How do you calm them down? What are the
Right.
questions that you can ask? It's peace of mind without a face. It's peace of mind with a voice. We're doing that as well as continual training. What's the latest in technology and how to dry effectively, how to dry quicker, how to come up with the resources to completely rebuild. The people that we have, we try to do everything most that we can. Well, all of Paul Davis utilizing our own services on our own people. At times with plumbing and electrical, etc. Like
Sure.
companies like Mary that we need to subcontract out. Those folks have gone through background checks. They've gone through drug testing. We are very, very, very picky and choosy about who joins our Paul Davis team to work with us and or who we send out. That's from roofing to plumbing to electrical to, you know, anybody wearing a Paul Davis shirt or driving a Paul Davis truck or representing us in any way.
Right. Wow.
So yes, to
great.
answer your question, Mark, we do extensive training and interviewing as well to make sure it's just not. And it, you know,
Right.
takes a special person to kind of work in this line of work as well that has the
does.
care and compassion. And you know, let's face it, it's when we enter is never a pretty sight, but
No.
when we leave and it's all complete and we give you back your keys to your home or this has been dried and it's all put back together is a beautiful thing.
Wow.
It is, and I'm so excited. Some of my neighbors have come over to look at the paint, the different things. They've looked around. They're like, "Wow,
Yeah.
this looks really good." But the biggest thing to me and the most important to me was it still has that same feel.
Yes.
It still has that same feel that Paul and I created together, and I didn't lose that. And that was a huge concern of mine. But yeah, it's great, and I'm so excited to get it put back together and get moved back home. And just be able to sit down and relax and look at the lake.
Absolutely. That's what it's for.
Yeah.
Now, you're located here locally. Your offices are in Nixa.
Yes, our actual offices are in Nixa, just south there on Campbell, just off of AA Highway. And we're Nixa, Springfield, like I said, just a stone's throw from all of our surrounding communities, 24/7, and you can reach us at 725-7575, 24 hours a day. We have a live person, answers our telephone 24/7, on-call teams 24/7. And then our office in the Lebanon is located off of Elm Street, and you can call 588-5880 to reach that office again 24/7.
Now, if someone has an emergency situation, with me, I was like, do I call the insurance company first? Do I call, who's on first?
Absolutely, who's on first.
But if you have a situation where, your house is flooded and you wake up and have squishy carpet and all that, of course, my fire happened on a Friday night. I always do the most opportune times to, have things happen.
Now, don't think any of this happens between 8 and 5, Mary, because
I know. No, this did not. No, this was late.
Absolutely.
Right before the fireworks.
That's when they happen.
I think we detained the fireworks for an hour. I'm sure the people are real happy with me. But anyway, so one of the things that, I wasn't for sure to do is, I got a hold of my insurance person first because basically I had enough friends and family and neighbors there that they secured my home.
Right.
So that was not an issue for me. But if it is an issue for someone, they don't have that going on at the time, and they're having a situation where they can't secure their home on their own, they can call you first.
Absolutely.
Even if they can't get hold of their insurance company at that moment.
Absolutely. Your insurance company wants you to do what you can to
minimize the damage.
Minimize the damage and do whatever you can. We document everything. We take photos of everything. There have been instances, like you said, on those, it's happened, Friday nights at 5, 8, 10, doesn't matter. Let's just say after hours.
Yes.
And it's been a refrigerator light. That even happened to myself. And it happened that night when it was discovered. You get out there, you get on it. There are times even before that gets reported or called in on a Monday, we've pretty much got it dried for you. They want that more than anything. We document, we take readings continually, day to day. We take photos, anything, and we keep in mind we work with every insurance company and know and have relationships with all the local adjusters. So we're working with them. We know that the time you turn it in, that agent's going to be so thankful that you chose someone, whether that's Paul Davis or a restoration company. You have not let it sit all weekend or even overnight. It's amazing what we can save. If this happens at 10 p.m. at night as you're going to bed and something happened, oh my gosh, yes, get us out there to start the drying process, start the restoration process, and you can call an 800 number. We can help you with that if you know who your company is. Phone your agent that next morning. Paul Davis was out. This is what's going on. A lot of things can be saved.
Yes.
Time is everything.
Yes,
we
it is.
have one of our slogans when minutes count and quality matters, and boy, that is, I can't say enough about that, as well as also helping the process of restoring, quicker. But absolutely, any time, 24/7, we want to help you board up, secure, dry, respond, and we'll take the notes, we'll take the photos. You don't have to worry about anything. We'll communicate with that adjuster, get him or her up to speed at that point, and your agent as well. So we'll do everything to keep the communication.
I want to get that out there just to make sure folks know that maybe you can't get a hold of your insurance agent for whatever reason at midnight.
Absolutely.
You do not have to call them first.
No.
You can call Paul Davis first. Like she said, get someone out there, minimize the damage. Yes. And the fact that you work with everyone, the adjusters, is huge.
It's huge.
That is huge to have someone that, no matter what your insurance carrier is, they already have a relationship with them. Call Paul Davis first in a disaster, then get a hold of your insurance person.
That's right. We'll
get
that
up disaster controlled first, then talk to your insurance agent. So,
well, it's a great peace of mind.
It is.
Yes. We'll get them up to speed. We'll be walking on the same page, and it will continue and make the whole process flow just that much easier for all of us. So by no means, no one should ever have to sit through or sit in or stay yet. Because a lot of times you think you can stay there, and you just don't know that there's, through your policy, even ways to say you need to be in a hotel, you need to be here, or what have you. And all insurance companies have 800 numbers, can get an adjuster, can get that support you need from your carrier at that time. But we're here to help and assist right away.
One big thing is having somebody to communicate with the insurance people, because if I was a homeowner and something happened, I would probably be so distraught and excited and everything else. you know, I may not tell them the right thing.
Right.
Or, you know, and where your people would come in and say, hey, this is the situation.
Right.
This is what's happening. This is what happened. This is what, you know, we feel
What needs to be done.
What needs to be done. Yeah.
And so they communicate that where you may not be able to.
Absolutely. You're still in the devastation
Sure.
of this has
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah.
We're there to take it through and you through from start to finish. Before
Yeah.
you leave a home, are there the following things you need to take
Sure.
with you?
Yeah.
We'll guide you along the way, but we don't want you worrying about all the details of telling your agent or telling your adjuster.
Yeah.
We'll be happy to, share all information with both of you, but we'll take the lead on that.
That's
Yeah,
great.
I haven't had to worry about anything.
No, that's what we want.
Nothing.
That
I mean,
is what we want.
I went and picked out the paint. I mean, there's things that you have to do as a homeowner. You know, I had to go pick out the paint colors I wanted. I mean, obviously, you're not going to do that for me. You
Right.
don't know what I want to do that.
Right.
But as far as the rest of it, and I just said get rid of the popcorn ceiling, and they did that. And I kind of, I mean, you kind of have to tell, what kind of style you want or that type of thing. But then once I did that, I just walked away, and I got, whenever, and I'd go check on it once in a while to see what's going
Yes.
on, and everything was just like we had talked about.
It's a process. It's
So-
your home. We
Yes.
want you to have control and input, value. We want to know what you want.
Without the stress and the day-to-day having to deal with it.
That's right.
I
That's
want
what David
I want
does.
this wall this color, this wall this
That's
color, and
right.
I want the popcorn off and see ya.
That's
Going
right.
to the spa.
David
outta
will worry
here.
about the rest.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Well, before we run out of time, one more time, give your numbers, how folks can get a hold of you.
Absolutely. In our Springfield area, our Southwest Missouri area, Nixa Springfield, 725-7575. And our Lebanon Lakes area, all the way through Lebanon Lakes, Jeff City, 588-5880.
There you go.
You could look us up online if you'd like. www.
There you
yeah,
go.
I'm on the website right now.
PDRspringfield.com.
So, now I went to the main website,
Yes.
but there's a place where you can type in
Any
your
zip
city
code.
or
Yep.
zip code. and it'll take
Absolutely.
it to you guys.
Absolutely. We've
Yeah.
got a
Take you to the
Facebook
local
page,
office.
Paul Davis Restoration, Missouri, for a Facebook page.
For all those
Absolutely.
people that like social media, they can
Absolutely.
find you there.
Yep.
So
I put a lot of tips on for prevention, a lot of tips and things as a learning experience. Not everybody wants to, have us educate them on after the fact. We want to do a lot of things to prevent. Smoke
Absolutely.
detectors, batteries. We're all about prevention as well.
absolutely. Well, it was great having you on today, Julie. I appreciate
Absolutely.
you taking time out and being with us on the show today. I think that our listeners got some great information.
Thank you.
And hopefully they don't have a disaster.
No.
But if they do,
If they do.
I hope they have your number handy and they'll
Absolutely.
give you guys a call.
You need to know who you can trust.
You need to know who
We'll
to
do that
call
for you.
And it's better to know ahead of time than
Yes.
after the fact. I didn't plan for this,
Nobody does. But
but
we're here.
so I was kind of lost. I was like,
Absolutely.
I don't know what to do, and I don't know who to
Yeah.
call. Fortunately, my agent said this is who we use, and I was like, great,
So glad.
yeah.
Thank
So-
you both for your time. It's been wonderful. Thanks for the
You're
time
welcome.
today.
Well, this is Home Repairs and Solutions, heard every Friday from 10 to 11 right here on AM 560 KWTO. Now, if you've got a problem and you don't know what to do, your siding's going bad and you're plagued with green mildew. Well, your faucets, they all drip and your sinks are all clogged up too. Well, there's no need to worry. I'll tell you what you can do. Just call Home Repairs and Solutions. Home Repairs and Solutions. They'll fix your windows, they'll fix your house. They'll even tell you how to get rid of a mouse. Home Repairs and Solutions.